only focus on what I delivered, but I'll give them an opportunity so that I don't, I think, Brayton, let's start with your question in terms of, we're taking over from a momentum, like they build the momentum. We have been very transparent as this administration since we took over. We have taken the residents into confidence, firstly starting with the 100 days plan. And we came back to the residents and said, this is what we said we must achieve for us to lay the foundation for stability in the city and recovery. We came back mid-February and said to the residents, this is the progress, this is what we said we're going to do, this is what we did, therefore these are the results. So my answer to you, a very direct one in terms of the, you using our work, now you're taking credit for the work. Residents know from day one what is it that we said we were focusing on. We told them what we have done to turn things around, and we have then reported of what we have done, and therefore we even went a step further that in our adjustment budget, remember at the beginning of the financial year, the city had a deficit of over 4 billion rand. And then at the end of Feb, we then tabled an adjustment budget with a deficit of 1.4 billion rand, right? And we explained to the residents what are the things that needed to happen. One of them was the issue of the creditors book, where it was 11 billion rand, not because of only what we were paying in terms of consumption to Eskom, but because of the interest. So we said we're going to stop the financial bleed. As a result, we got into a payment agreement with Eskom as one of them. We started going to communities and really encouraging communities to pay for services. We then said to communities, we will stop billing you on estimates, we'll bill you on actuals. When we reported, we targeted 95%, we were able to achieve 93%. We then went into expenditure and said the city must start spending like a city that is in financial distress. We went in there, we cut beyond the bone in terms of expenditure, where we prioritize frontline services. So there are decisions, key decisions that we have taken that aimed at making sure that we collect a revenue, that we are disciplined in the way that we spend in the city. But we, from day one, we said a city with an unfunded budget is not a city that can be able to deliver services to the people. And also the institution itself cannot survive if you have budgeted for more than you can spend. So those are the different, and also we then realized that actually the officials of the city wants to wake up each and every single day and work for the communities. We then spend less on contractors and our officials did most of the work. So I'm not saying they mustn't take credit if my speech was that beautiful, but I'm just saying the residents have been with me with this administration from day one when we planned the 100 days, and we knew that 100 days was going to set us up for an adjusted budget with reduced deficit, and that decision of a reduced deficit will then set us up for a fully funded budget. A quick turnaround, it wasn't quick at all. It felt quick if you're on the outside, but for us who have to be in these boardrooms at night and very early in the morning, it's not quick at all. But there was also what helped in terms of the finances. There were other additional sources of revenue that we found when we were doing the adjustment budget. So, for instance, properties that were never transferred to the city since 2022, to province, so that province can start paying for rates and taxes. And then the way that we are managing our facilities, the rentals there, and also we found 10,000 households that were not being billed for waste collection. So for us, we then focused, and every Friday at 2 p.m. we meet in this boardroom to go through our revenue, our expenditure, to make sure that we spend on capital grants. So it may feel like it's a quick turnaround, but there was a lot of sweat and yelling at each other in this boardroom to get that done. I think in Mbalente, the issue of claiming ownership, one of my colleagues may have a better answer than me, they will take it. The issue of the funded budget, I did touch on it, but it got into a point where it was not optional anymore. The city since 2022 has not had a funded budget. We can't even borrow from banks, because obviously that does talk to how we manage our finances. And therefore, for us, it has never been optional. Even the way we approach the budget, you won't even get a list of mayoral priorities. We said we're going to have institutional priorities where all of us as this leadership are going to rally behind those priorities and make sure that we have a fully funded budget that is realistic, so that whatever is contained in the budget can be delivered to the communities. In terms of then how did we achieve it, as I said, revenue collection had to be ramped up. If you have been, if you've checked the budget, it's even based on not even on 100% collection predictions, it's based on 93%, because that's the realistic predictions we can make based on the performance in the past 6 months. So 93%. Of course, the issues of tariffs. So with tariffs, we try to absorb as much as possible. So for instance, with the Rand Water, they've imposed 15% tariff increase, we're only imposing 13%. Eskom is 12.74%, we're only imposing 12%. And in terms of waste, it's only 5%. And what is important is on the property rates. Property rates, we have a general valuation role that is due in terms of the law, that it's after 5 years we must update it. We were considerate of the fact that those property owners now will pay more because the value of their property has gone up. We have reduced the property rates by 4%. And then there's a city cleansing levy, which doesn't even affect the majority of the residents in the city. It affects the minority that has opted to use the private contractors. And the reason of two things: the city cleansing levy is not new to Tshwane. 2019, that levy was in Tshwane. There was a court case where the city was told go and correct certain things, and it's coming back. Second, it's not unique to Tshwane. It's not only Tshwane that has, you check Cape Town, you check eThekwini, these municipalities all have the cleansing levy. It is meant for those who are using private contractors, but still use our landfill sites to dump. So that's the category of residents that are affected by those. But on the side of expenditure, there's a discipline that we had to instill in terms of how we approach expenditure. One, we prioritize essential services that we've talked about, frontline services, infrastructure development and maintenance. That's what we are talking about here. So if it's not essential, then we don't fund it. And so then that's where we got the balance right. But most work must then go into revenue collection so that we can keep this credibility. Of course, we were doing this with consultation with National Treasury just to check if we're on the right track in terms of producing that. In the terms of the priorities, these are the priorities that obviously after we've received the State of the City addresses this administration, we then said these are the 6 priorities that emerge from the reports that we're getting, and then we announced as part of the 100 days plan. There's been tweaking because we did not focus on especially community well-being and social services. Those were non-existent in the 100 days plan. We have changed that in this because whatever we do, whether economy, infrastructure development, if you don't put the human beings at the center of those developments, you won't be able to achieve your objectives. So, but it's the priorities that emerged when we came as the new administration based on the State of the City address. And then what we've done, we'll see even in the IDP draft, we then took the projects to say which projects will help us to achieve each and every one of these priorities, and some of them I shared today. Unqualified audit, that's ambitious, but it's necessary. It's like the fully funded budget. If we don't do everything we can to obtain an unqualified audit, what it means to us is that this institution is still in a crisis mode, because the audit opinion will tell you the strength of your institution, and therefore the initiatives, the proactiveness in terms of getting AG to help us before we submit the official statements, and the work that we are doing as oversight, the monthly meetings to just monitor how we are responding to to the AG findings. It's the work that we need to put in, because at the center of it, for us, we said we don't want to address one finding at a time. We want to respond to the root causes that led to the adverse finding in 2022 and the qualified audits in the subsequent years. Then in terms of the jobs for youth, Oratile, I think what is important for us is that we understand the problem for what it is. If of the 37% of unemployed, about 60% of that portion is young people, you have a crisis, because you not only have hungry people, but you also have a room for social ills. Whether there's drugs and substance abuse, whether it's crime, you basically have a crisis. So what the state of the capital address today is anchored around the economic growth that we need in the city of Tshwane to rescue the residents of Tshwane. Then for us to do that, then we ask, what do we need? Then we said we need infrastructure development, we need partnerships, we need everything that we need there. But what is important is that the economic revitalization strategy has listed the sectors. Automotive sector, we pride ourselves as the capital city, that's our sector. BMW is here, Nissan is here, there is UD trucks, Ford is here. So for us, that's a sector that we're proud of. But also we're very proud capital because of agriculture, economy. We are proud of the knowledge sector. So those are some of the sectors. MICE is there. So in the economic revitalization strategy, we do outline which sectors are these, what are their contribution to the economy of the city. And for us, what we want is that these businesses must thrive so that they create jobs, so that the youth can benefit.